Hello and welcome. My name is Yossi Katz, and I'm your host for tonight. We have an incredible program for you, and we thank you so much for joining. We have a program of Torah, of inspiration, and of music. It's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of simcha. Tonight's program is brought to you by Breslov Life, Breslov.life. Breslov Life is a brand new organization focused on bringing Rabbi Nachman's life-changing teachings to the world. We live in difficult times and challenging times. There's Corona. There are problems with finding happiness in life. There are problems with chinuch, with educating our children. There are problems with shalom bayis in relationships. Rabbi Nachman shared wisdom with us that is truly transformational. He shared with us eitzes, pieces of advice that can transform our life that are more relevant today than ever before. It's the mission of Breslov Life to share those teachings with you. We welcome you to join us on our website, to contact us. We have many articles, written posts, video posts, chaburas, classes, shiurim, live events, and much, much more. So join us today. Today is a very special day. It's Tu Bishvat, Rosh Hashanah Lilonos, the Rosh Hashanah for the trees. And today is also a special day because it's the birthday of Reb Nosson Breslov. For those of you who don't know, Reb Nosson was Reb Nachman's main Talmud. It was said about Reb Nosson that if not for Reb Nosson, not one shred of one page of Rabbi Nachman's teachings would remain with us today. But Reb Nosson's birthday, being on Tu Bishvat, really reflects the deeper mission behind Reb Nosson's life. It wasn't just about preserving Rabbi Nachman's Torah, but Reb Nosson wanted to teach Rabbi Nachman's Torah and share Rabbi Nachman's Torah in a way which specifically brought out the incredible amount of chizuk, of inspiration that's found in Rabbi Nachman's teachings. When we look outside this time of year, it's dark outside, it's cold outside, the days are short, the nights are long. And sometimes in life, we also have those kind of days. We feel distant from Hashem, we feel cold in our relationship with Him, life gets kind of just dull and bleak. And it was Reb Nosson's mission to show us that just like on Tu Bishvat, the sap starts to gather in the trees. All of nature starts to rejuvenate. Soon enough, the flowers will blossom and the fruits will grow once again. This is all happening, but you can't see any of it. It's all underneath everything. So too, Reb Nosson dedicated his life to showing every single Jew, in every single situation, even the most desperate ones, that underneath it all, they're getting ready to live a greater life of meaning, that there is an akuda tova, there's a good point that has started to rejuvenate, and it may look bleak from the outside, but they're getting ready for a new rebirth, and for new possibilities, and for new growth. So for that, we thank Reb Nosson, and we dedicate tonight's program in his memory. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first performer, Reb Joey Newcomb. He's going to bring tremendous simcha into all of our houses tonight. So sit back, enjoy, sing along, and maybe dance a little too. Welcome.
No yo 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 heilige Tu Bishvat, heilige Tu Bishvat. Something so deep about Tu Bishvat. Maybe it's the Inyan of Ein Shum Yush Boilam Klal. If you walk outside and you look at a tree, it's bare, there's no leaves. It looks like it's dead, it looks like its mama's dead, but we know deep inside that tree, there's so much life going on. The beginning, the sap is starting to move up and starting to prepare the tree for the summer. This is maybe the Inyan Klal Yisrael. You think we're Miyayish, look what's going on in the world. There's no Yish, because deep inside there's a little nakuda that's bringing everything to life. We're going to come to Mashiach. We're preparing for Mashiach. Yimaskim Reb Yossi over there. Oy Rabbeinu Shua, Libeko Ovengo Adoy. We ain't sure, ain't sure, we ain't sure, we Rabbeinu Yeshua Libekova will go away We ain't sure Ain't sure We ain't sure I'm clown Hey la 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 did it la 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 did it la 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 did it la 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 I did it la 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 did it la 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 hey did it la 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 did it la 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 did it la mitzvah gedoylo liot besimcha liot besimcha besimcha dovamir mitzvah gedoylo liot besimcha liot besimcha besimcha taver Rabbeinu Shua bikol gadol ein shom yeyosh ein shom yeyosh ba'olam kol Rabbeinu Shua bikol gadol ein shom yeyosh ein shom yeyosh ba'olam kol did it la 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 One more time, Kevin zusammen gewalt Hoy Rabbeinu Shua Libekova Ain't shom Ain't shom Shom yeyosh ba'olam kol Hoy Rabbeinu Shua bikol gadol Ain't shom Shom yeyosh ba'olam kol Gval mitzvah gedoylo liot besimcha liot besimcha besimcha taver mitzvah gedoylo liot besimcha liot besimcha besimcha tavavamir Okay, that was just a warm-up. By the way, there's a yid here, Rabbi Yossi. It's mamash gaval. Because Rabbi Yossi, we're here on behalf of Breslov Life, or Breslov.life, to look up the website. But Breslov Life, what does that mean, Breslov Life? Rabbi Nachman brought so much nechama. Rabbi Nachman brought so much healing to the world, mamash. People are running to the Torah, Rabbi Nachman. People are running to Uman. Rabbi Nachman brought so much healing to life, mamash. So Breslov Life is a deep Indian. Because a lot of people get back into life through Breslov, through Rabbi Nachman. It's a schus mamash to be able to be part of this Indian. But one of the biggest yisoidis of Rabbi Nachman was the avoid of simcha, to be besimcha tomid, besimcha, whatever it takes, mamash, medavzam besimcha. You know why? I'll tell you a mice. Am I allowed to say a mice, Rabbi Yossi? I'm allowed to say a mice. By the way, there's another yid, Rabbi Aryeh, he's over here, mamash. Rabbi Aryeh controls, he's running the controls. You know, there's some yidden behind the scenes, like the bassist in every band. Nobody appreciates the bassist, but Lamaisi is the yisoid of the whole Indian. You know what I'm saying? It's like the meat of yisoid, the foundation of the house. You can't see it. The Lamaisi is holding up the whole house. Rabbi Aryeh, mamash gaval. To the holy Baal Shem Tov, it was Matzi Yom Kippur, and like the meaning was, is that the Chassidim would start tanzing Matzi Yom Kippur. They had such an amazing avodah. Like many of us, we dance Matzi Yom Kippur. But there's a big minhag to say Kiddush Levana right after, you dav Ma'ariv, you walk outside, you look up, you see the moon, Kiddush Levana is gewalt. So the Chassidim walked outside, the Baal Shem Tov and the Chassidim, they look up and you can't see the moon, it's cloudy. Gewalt, you can't see the moon. And when you can't see the moon, you can't say Kiddush Levana, you have to be able to see the moon. So this bothered the Baal Shem Tov because I guess he felt in his holy wisdom that maybe this was a negative, this was a revelation of something negative. Why aren't we able to say Kiddush Levana, Matzi Yom Kippur? It bothered him a lot. So the Baal Shem Tov said, you know what? He's going to go into his room and have kavanas and holy meditations, however the tzaddikim were able to pull off these things and see if he could, be poil that the cloud should move away from the moon. He goes into his room, he's trying the deepest kavanas. spite of this, very intense, serious. Meanwhile, the Chassidim outside were so excited about the Avodah of Yom Kippur, they started dancing and dancing and dancing. The Baal Shem Tov is trying, he said nothing's working, he's not being able to be poil. Okay, what can you do? Listen. It bothers him, he walks outside, he sees the Chassidim are dancing, mamash. They're dancing, they're besimcha, he looks up at the clouds. And he sees the clouds are moving away. So the Baal Shem Tov looked at the Chassidim and he said, you know what you taught me today? You taught me such a deep thing. He said, what I wasn't able to accomplish with all my kavanas and meditations, Pasha the Chassidim, you were able to accomplish just by being besimcha. Just by being besimcha through the Inyan, by a little tant, you were able to accomplish that the clouds moved away. Sometimes we look so deep. Sometimes just to be besimcha, to have emunah through whatever you're going through, that is the Yeshua itself. You have to be besimcha tak. You have to sing about simcha. So whoever's watching this, I hope you're going to repeat after me, because you got to repeat after me. But Rav Yossi's going to repeat after me also, even though, you know what I'm saying over there, Rav Yossi. Can I get him do? Need Rav Yossi? There we go. S. You got to repeat after me the words that I say, Rav Yossi, over there. Okay, by the way, Rav Yossi's Gavalt. Besimcha, 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 bo, lefana, birnana, birnana. 1, 2, 3, let's go. If du es Hashem besimcha, if du es Hashem besimcha, bo lefana, birnana, lefana, birnana. Hey! If du es Hashem besimcha, if du es Hashem besimcha, bo lefana, birnana, lefana, birnana. Didi-dai, 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 la-la, la-la-dai, la-la-dai, didi-didi-da, boy, didi-dai, didi-dai, la-la, didi-dai, la-la, hi, didi-dai, didi-dai, la-la, la-la-dai, la-la-dai, didi-didi-da, ho, 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 ho. If du es Hashem besimcha, if du es Hashem besimcha, bo lefana, birnana, lefana, birnana, hey! If du es Hashem besimcha, if du es Hashem besimcha, bo lefana, birnana, lefana, birnana. Didi-dai, 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 la-la, didi-dai, la-la-dai, didi-didi-da, didi-do, didi-dai, la-la, didi-dai, 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 la-la, didi-dai, la-la-dai, didi-didi-da, didi-do, didi-dai, la-la, hey! Stand up for this one. Am I allowed to stand up, or am I going to go out of the camera over there? No standing up? Okay, fuck, we'll stand up. We'll go like this. If du es Hashem besimcha, if du es Hashem besimcha, lefana binana, lefana binana. If du es Hashem besimcha, if du es Hashem besimcha, lefana binana, lefana binana. Hey! Yeah! Yeah! Scooby-Doo! Oh, didi-dai, 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 la-la, la-la-dai, didi-didi-da, boy, didi-dai, didi-dai, la-la, la-la, didi-dai, didi-do, didi-dai, didi-dai, didi-do, didi-do, didi-dai, la-la, didi-do, didi-da-da, ma-ya-ya, oh, didi-da-da, la-la, oh, didi-dai, la-la, oh, didi-dai, la-la, didi-do, didi-da-da, la-la. Didi da da la 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 la. Didi do la 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 didi la la la. Didi da la 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 didi la la. Didi da la la didi da da. Didi da la la didi da da. Didi da la 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 la. Hey. Didi da la la didi da da. Didi da la la didi da da. Didi da la la didi da la la. Didi do. Didi-da-da, ma-ya-ya, oh. Didi-di-la-la-la, oh. Didi-da-da-la-la-la, oh. Didi-da-la-la-la. life. Didi-doi, lai, 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 Breslov life. Didi-da, la, 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 la. Whoa, didi-da, na, ma, ya, ya. Didi-da, la, 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 ma, ya, ya. Oh, didi-da, na, ma, ya, ya. Didi-doi. Yo, 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 yo. By the way, Reb Aryeh over here on the Kahoin, I think it's called a Kahoin. Reb Aryeh usually could only play a bossa nova. It's a chiddush tonight. It's the koyach of Breslov that he's not able to play something else than a bossa nova. I'm asking Reb Aryeh. Very deep, very deep. Okay, so like this. We're gonna sing about the Eilige Klal Yisrael. Nui didi da dam ho, nui didi da dam hey, didi da dam bike amcha Yisrael. Is there anybody like us in the world, mamish? So I just want them to know that I wrote this song. I don't know how many people know this story, but I wrote this song in the Ramah Shul in Krakow. And it was after a very long day, a very long day. We went through Auschwitz. We visited Birkenau. We visited really tough places, mamish. Places that you know, there's blood on the floor, mamish, and there's destruction. And it wasn't an easy day. Rabbi was with us on the trip. And we went through that entire day to bracha and trying to chap how to feel the emotions, trying to relate to what happened. It's, you know, how can you? But that night, we went to Krakow to daven Ma'ariv in the Ramah Shul. So while we were davening Ma'ariv in the Ramah Shul, I was thinking to myself, mamish, is there anybody like us in the world that's gone through such destruction and comes out only stronger? Mike Amcha Yisrael Goy Echad Bareh. People like us who've been through destruction time and time again, and every single time we come out stronger. There's more Yidden, there's Breslov, there's Chassidus, there's Torah, there's Yeshivas. It's unbelievable, mamish. So I'm thinking, mamish, in the middle of Ma'ariv, Mike Amcha Yisrael. This was the thought that I had as a toitzah from going to destruction. Coming out of darkness, feeling Mika Amchi Yisrael, that we should be besimcha over the fact that we're still here. Like the trees, mamish tu b'shvat. Mamish like the trees. It looks dead, but it's mamish not dead. So we're gonna sing like this. Didi-da-lai-la, didi-da-lai hey, didi-da-lai Mika Amchi Yisrael. Didi-da-lai-la, didi-da-lai hey, didi-da-lai Mika Amchi Yisrael. Sing with me. Ay la la la, ay la la la, oy 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 ashreinu. Didi na 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 na, didi na 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 na, oy 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 ashreinu. Aw ashreinu, matoy chelkeinu. Oy 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 ashreinu, shezachinu lehiskarev lerabbeinu. Oy 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 Ashreinu, didi-da-lai-la, didi-da-lai hey, didi-da-lai Mike Amcha Yisrael. Didi-da-lai-la, didi-da-lai hey, didi-da-lai Mike Amcha Yisrael. Da-da-lai-la-la, didi-da-lai hey, didi-da-lai Mike Amcha Yisrael. Da-da-lai-la-la, didi-da-da-do, didi-da-lai Mike Amcha Yisrael. Hey! Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Chavre, we can dance. We're zeicher to be part of Klal Yisrael. We have rabbis like Rabbeinu. Oy, Ashreinu. Didi-da-lai-la, didi-da-lai hey, didi-da-lai Mike Amcha Yisrael. Dirina Laila, Dirina Lai, hey, Dirina Lai Mike, Am Choisroe, Dirina Laila, Dirina Lai, hey, Dirina Lai Mike, Am Choisroe, Dirina Laila, Dirina Lai, hey, Dirina Lai Mike, Am Choisroe. Go over there, everybody over there. By the way, everybody can only play bossa nova, that's it. Very deep, very deep. Let's see, you know, we're going to try something now. We're going to see if we can play Thank You Hashem in a bossa nova. Because the avoid is to thank Hashem, right? That's what we're all here for. Hashem. We're all here to realize that everything is from the Abed. A guy, he told me today, a deep heart. He told me an unbelievable heart. He said he had a heart. His name is Brother Ruvain, and Brother Ruvain had a heart like this. He said, "Oitcha ki ani sani." I thank you because you answered me. But it's not what it means. Oitcha ki ani sani v'tehili l'shua. I thank you that you answered me, and Mamela, because you answered me, I realized that you are the only Yeshua. Because you answered me, I realized that you're the only one to turn to. So I'm really thanking you for helping me understand that you're the only one that could do anything for me. Through answering me. Ich hab oitcha ki ani sani v'tehili l'shua. It's mamash gewalt. It's mamash gewalt. So I have to thank the Eibishter mamash for everything, because when you thank Hashem, you're really being Megala, that you understand that everything is from Him. So answer me, chavre, dirinai, dirinai, leila. Thank you, Hashem. We dirinai, dirinai, time and time again. Dirinai, dirinai, you. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Chavre, tanz zusammen. If you're watching this from your couch, dance on the couch. If you're watching this from your dining room, dance on top of the chairs. I don't know if you should go on the table, but Lamaisa start dancing. Thank you, Hashem. 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 Hoy tu la Hashem ki kai ki li yoilam chazday. Hoy tu la Hashem ki kai ki li yoilam chazday. Hoy tu la Hashem ki kai ki li yoilam chazday. Oy du Lashem ki toev ki li olam chazdoy hapava moides Hashem hapava moides Hashem hapava moides Hashem ki li olam chazdoy hapava moides Hashem hapava moides Hashem hapava moides Hashem Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. תודה רבה לך, השם יתברך. תודה רבה לך, השם יתברך. תודה רבה לך, השם יתברך. Thank you, Hashem. Answer me, Chav. Here we go. I did it, la la. Let me hear you. I did it, la la. Did it, la la. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Ay, dirilalam, spasiba Bogu. Dirilalam, spasiba Bogu. Dirilalam, dirilalam. Thank you, Hashem. How's it go over there? Dirilalam, slava Bogu. Slava Bogu, хорошо, little shout out there. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Hoidul Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Hoidul Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you. Thank you, Hashem. Chavre. Heilige Avoide. Ein shom yesh ba'olam klal. One thing Rabbeinu taught us, many things, but one of the things that Rebbe taught us is that a Yid never gives up. No matter where you ended up in life, mamash, no matter what you look like on the outside, there's always an akuda toiva, chavre, mamash, ein shom yesh, start over. Start over. Every day you can start over fresh, mamash. In fact, if I remember correctly, the Rebbe says is that if you start over every single day, it's a bechin of ma'aser bereishis, mamash. Being able to recreation every single day, it's unbelievable. So sing with me the nigga, and it goes like this. You fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. Sheva yipoel tzavavadi. You fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. Sheva yipoel tzavavadi. Did you know? Did you know? Oh, you fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. Sheva yipoel tzadik. Don't forget, you fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. Sheva yipoel tzadik. Did you know? Did you know? Did you No, it's never too late to correct your mistakes, 'cause we know ain't shom yeush ba'olam klal. You know it's never too late to start over again, 'cause we know ain't shom yeush ba'olam klal. Sheva yipol tzadik, tzadik v'kom. Oy, 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 v'kom. Sheva yipol tzadik, tzadik v'kom. Oy, 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 v'kom. know it's never too late to correct your mistakes, because we know ain't shum yehush ba'olam klal. You know it's never too late to start over again, because we know ain't shum yehush ba'olam klal. Hi, look at Yossi. You know it's never too late to correct your mistakes, because we know ain't shum yehush ba'olam klal. You know it's never too late to start over again, because we know ain't shum yehush ba'olam klal. Zachar v'dav zam b'simcha, elige b'simcha, tibi b'simcha tamid, b'simcha, 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 b'simcha tamid, oy, 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 oy. So there's a heilige niggin. There's a heilige niggin from Rabbi Yossi Karduner. Such a deep niggin. I believe once I heard the Maisa of how he wrote this niggin. During a spoidedus, if I remember. I don't remember. What I remember, and I hopefully got it right. But this is a mamash. To be besimcha. The words are like this. Sois asis bashem. What does that mean? Ani sameach bezeh shani mesameach et Hashem. You know what makes me the happiest? That I could be mesameach, the Eibusha, that I have a schus to do something, and the Eibusha will be happy from that. I'm saying whatever that means. That's the biggest simcha in the life. Ani sameach bezeh shani mesameach et Hashem. אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. Here we go. So sasis Baba Hashem, so sasis Ba Hashem, so sasis Ba Hashem, so sasis Hashem. אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. So sasis Ba Hashem, so sasis Ba Hashem. So sasis Ba Hashem, so sasis Ba Hashem. Says Alban, אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. Let's give it a bow right now. אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. חבר'ה, here we go, you ready? So sasis Ba Hashem, so sasis Ba Hashem. So sasis Ba Hashem, so sasis Ba Hashem. אוי, אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. 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 צא בכם את אז so sasis Ba Hashem, so sasis Ba Hashem, so sasis Ba Hashem, so sasis Ba Hashem. אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. אוי, אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. Da 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 la la da 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 la la, da da dee da da, dee da 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 la la, da da dee da da la la, ay la la. Oy im Yehudi haya yodea ma ze השמחה, 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 היה שמח, שמח ורוקד, שמח ורוקד 120 שנה, היה שמח, שמח ורוקד, שמח ורוקד 120 שנה, היה שמח, שמח ורוקד, שמח ורוקד 120 שנה, היה שמח, שמח ורוקד, שמח ורוקד 120 שנה. אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם, אוי אני שמח בזה שאני משמח את השם. אוי לחיים ושבת כתוב בשבט בציון ירושלים.
Thank you, Joey. That was terrific. So much energy, so much simcha. Thank you so very much. So we started off the evening speaking a little bit about Tu Bishvat. And let's talk a little bit more about this special yontiv. There's halacha of orla. When a farmer goes and plants a tree, so the first 3 years that farmer plants the trees are called orla. Orla literally means uncircumcised. And the Torah says that the fruits of those trees in the first 3 years are forbidden to us. In the 4th year, there is a different halacha, which is that we take those fruits and we go up to Yerushalayim, and in Yerushalayim we say Hallel, we praise and thank Hashem for these fruits, and then in Yerushalayim these fruits become permitted to us. After that, in the 5th year and so on, the fruits are completely permitted to us. Now we're talking about Tu Bishvat, we're talking about the Eitz HaChaim, right? This is the yontiv of trees, and the trees are the Eitz HaChaim. The Torah is called the Eitz HaChaim, it's called the tree of life. The Torah grows the most incredible, ruchnistic, spiritual fruits, and when we eat those fruits, we enjoy them, and we grow, and we come close to Hashem, we gain great vibrancy, and life, and vitality. So the Torah is the Eitz HaChaim. Tonight's theme is Hischadshus. It's the theme of renewal. The more we grab onto this Eitz Chaim, the more connected we are, the more vibrancy, life, and renewal that we will feel, that we'll have in our lives. So how do we grab onto this? How can we merit to have this special Torah, the Torah of Hashem's infinite life, the Torah of the Eitz Chaim? How can we gain this? How can we incorporate this into our life? So if I were to ask all of you listening today, which midah, which character trait is there that is the number one prerequisite for being able to be mekabel, for gaining Torah knowledge? What do you have to have? I'm sure that all of you know it's very simple. It's shiftless. A person has to feel humility. They have to be humble. There's actually a Gemara. Gemara is in Eruvin. It's talking about the travels of the Jewish people, the travels of the Yidden. They went from one place to another, and it talks about the pasuk that says that they traveled from Midbar Matana. They traveled from Midbar to a place called Matana. And the Gemara says, what's the connection between those two places? What is it about their names? So the Gemara says that a person, if they want to be zoche, if they want to merit to be mekabel the Torah, to receive the Torah, what do they have to do? They have to make themselves like a midbar. Midbar is wilderness. It's a desert. In the desert, there's no roads, there's no paths, there's no nothing. Everyone just walks around. So the Gemara says you have to make yourself like a person that people will trample on you. You have to have so much humility. And if you'll have that, then you'll travel, you'll come to matana, to the giving of the Torah, to receiving Torah. So this is the number one trait, the number one character trait that you have to have, and that is to have shiflus. We know the greatest example of this was Moshe Rabbeinu. He's onav mikol adam. He was more humble and he had more humility than anyone else in history. And of course, the Torah was given through Moshe. So Moshe is the ultimate example of this. Now, Rabbi Nachman teaches us in the Likutei Moharan. He says that there are 3 levels of subjugating, of defeating one's ego, of yimavatal one's ego. There are 3 levels of this, of getting rid of one's ego, until you could come to this humility, the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu. And what are those three levels? So the first one is very easy, so to speak. The first one is to feel humble, be a shofel, to lower yourself before those who are greater than you. That's not so hard, if you talk about a tzaddik, a Talmud Chacham, a great Jewish leader, someone who personifies a certain good character trait, someone who is a role model in a certain area. So when we look at them and we compare ourselves to them, we say, they're special. They're really greater than me. And we can bow our head down a little bit and accept that. And that knocks away a little bit of our ego. Then he says there's the next level. Level number 2. That's a little more difficult. He says that we need to lower ourselves. We need to feel this humbleness, to be humble before someone who's kind of, he's like on our level, someone that's kind of like us. Now that's a little more challenging because, let's say it's our chavrusa, our friend, our coworker, our spouse. So we say, they're like us, but I'm a little better than them. I mean, they're kind of like me, but I'm a little better. So Rabbi Nachman says, no. You want to get rid of the ego. You want to be makabel the Torah. You want to be able to come to the Eitz HaChaim. You have to get rid of that ego too. You have to look at that person and say, look how special they are. They have this Nekuda Tova and that Nekuda Tova. And in this area, they're so great. In that area, they're so great. And I have my Nekudas Tovas. But in those areas, they're so special. So if I focus in on those areas, I'll realize that, they're really special. Let me humble myself. Let me get rid of my ego, nullify my ego a little bit. Then there's a third level, and this one is really, really difficult. The third level, says Rabbi Nachman, is to lower yourself even before someone that seems lower to you. They're spiritually inferior to you, according to the way you look at them. Maybe it's the guy that talks in shul, or maybe it's the guy that works long hours and doesn't spend so much time with his family, or it's the lady that gossips. There's all kinds of things that this could be. And that is so very difficult. How can we do something like that? But Rabbi Nachman says that every single person has a Nekuda Tova. They have something inside of them that's so special, a virtue that no one else in the entire world has. And if we can find that virtue, if we can find that Nekuda Tova and focus in only on that Nekuda Tova and look at that when we see them and allow that to define them, then we can even humble ourselves and subjugate our ego even to those people and lower ourselves to those people. So these are the three levels that Rabbi Nachman talks about. And Rab Nosson takes this a step further. Hilchas Orla, number 5, in the Likutei Halachos, he takes this a step further and he says, these three levels perfectly parallel the 3 years of the Orla. Because what's an Orla? Orla means literally uncircumcised. So now there's something called a spiritual negative energy. Something that's an energy that's it's negative in the spiritual sense. It's bad in the spiritual sense. Those are klippas. Klippa means a klippa is a peel. So if you have a fruit and you want to eat the fruit, but you have this peel, an orange for example, you can't eat it. It has arsenic in it. You can't eat that orange. So there's these spiritual forces which are negative. They're called klippas. They're peels. And those are the arla, the uncircumcised years, the uncircumcised years of the tree where it's forbidden. Those are these 3 negative spiritual forces. So that's what Rabbi Nosson says. They parallel the first 3 years. If you want to come to be able to enjoy fruits, the sweet fruit, to bite into it, to eat it, to enjoy it, to grow, you have to first cut yourself off from those negative spiritual forces. This is what Rabbi Nosson explains. Now, there is the 4th year. The 4th year is the year of Neter Avoy. When you take these fruits and you bring them to Yerushalayim, you thank and praise Hashem, then you're allowed to eat them. So, Rab Nosson says, Rabbi Nachman also introduces a 4th level of ego that has to be nullified. What's that 4th level of ego that you have to nullify? So Rab Nachman says a wondrous statement. He says you need to nullify yourself before your own level. You need to feel lower than your own level. You need to nullify your ego before yourself. How's it possible? How can this be? How can you nullify your ego before yourself? Feel lower than yourself? How do you make sense? How is that possible? What is this 4th level? This 4th level that parallels the year of Neter Avoy, the year of where you can bring the fruits finally to Yerushalayim, praise and thank Hashem, and then enjoy them so that fruits become permitted to you. What is that? Do any of you remember the date of November 1st, 2012? Well, let me tell you, I remember that date very clearly because something very unorderly, something very strange happened on that date. You see, Rabbi Chaim Kramer had just completed the 30-year project of translating Rabbi Nachman's Magna Opus, Likutei Moharan, into English with commentary. It was 15 volumes. It was an incredible feat, and we wanted to make a great siyum, make a great celebration. And we were set to go to Queens, to Terrace on the Park, which is up in a tower. We're going to have a beautiful, beautiful event. And I worked for many, many months on this event. We expected 600 people. I put all my koiches, all my energy into this. And then something terrible happened on that day. That day was the day of Hurricane Sandy. Who would have expected in November a hurricane? But that's what happened. So instead of having 600 people there was a much smaller crowd. Most of them were like, oh my goodness, is my house still going to be up when I get home? People weren't really enjoying themselves too much. And then in the middle of the event, we were told the fire marshal's coming in, and if we don't get out, he's kicking us all out, and we're up in a tower, and it's windy, and you've got to leave now. We left everything behind. I raced back to Lakewood, where I live, and I got onto the bridge, and the wind was blowing, the car was all over the place. Baruch Hashem, at least I made it home safely. But the next morning when I woke up, I said, oy vey, I just spent so many months working on something. What do I have to show for it? Well, think about the farmer. He goes and he plants a tree. He can do everything right. He can have the right soil. He can know the latest techniques in farming and so on and so forth. But ultimately, he's up to the mercy of the elements. If the elements are not happy with him, if Hashem chooses not, his tree won't bear any fruit. A farmer knows when they plant something, it's up to Hashem ultimately to make that fruit grow. So now when this farmer goes and he takes the fruit to Yerushalayim and he says Hallel and he thanks Hashem for this, he knows that it was Hashem that gave me this fruit. It wasn't up to me. It was Hashem that allowed the fruit to grow. And when it comes to Parnasa, we all know I need to earn a livelihood. I know that, I do my ishtadlus, I make my efforts, but we all work on trying to believe that it's really from Hashem ultimately, whether that business deal is going to go through, whether that job is going to work out, whether I'll have enough money to cover my expenses. We work on that. We know that. That's a level of emunah we're trying to work on. And the same thing, for example, with shidduchim. We know if I want to marry off a daughter, or I want to marry off a child, or if I need a shidduch still, we know we try. We speak to the shadchan, we put on a nice suit, we go out on a date, but ultimately we know it's Hashem. Who could take two neshamas and pair them together so that they should be a true match, a true zivug? Only Hashem. But what we don't realize is that when it comes to spiritual matters as well, it's all up to Hashem in the same way. We can have nekudas toivis, we can have spiritual virtues, we can accomplish great things spiritually, but it's Hashem who decides. It's no different when it comes to spiritual things. So what comes out is an incredible, incredible thing. Just like the farmer that takes his fruit, and it's on Tu Bishvat. What does Tu Bishvat do? Tu Bishvat's the day that in the third year of the fruit, when 3 years have passed already of the tree, and the fruit comes and it develops. So if that fruit in the fourth year develops before Tu Bishvat in that year, then it's considered as though even though it's the fourth year, but the fruit got its nourishment already from the third year, which is the year of Orla, which was forbidden. And if the fruit develops on Tu Bishvat in the fourth year, or after Tu Bishvat in the fourth year, then it's considered as if the fruit got its nourishment from the fourth year, and now that fruit can be brought to Yerushalayim, and we can go and say Hallel and thank Hashem for it. This is the power of Tu Bishvat. Tu Bishvat is what takes the fruit from being connected to the years of Orla, from being connected to those negative spiritual forces, which Rabbi Nachman explained are ego which stands in the way from us connecting to Hashem, from us being humble, from us receiving from the Eitz HaChaim. Hashem says ego is like Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah is idol worship. If I am egotistical, then how can I connect to Hashem, who's completely spiritual? How can the ego gets in the way? The only way to receive the Torah, the only way to be connected to the Eitz HaChaim is to get rid of your ego first. So now, what stands in the way from ego, from these first 3 years The 3 levels that we said, from the 3 years of Orla, of Klippa, what stands away from going and coming to Netter Avoid, coming to the 4th year, which Tu Bishvat says that now if this fruit forms, you could take it to Yerushalayim and thank and praise Hashem for it, and then you can enjoy the fruit. This is Tu Bishvat, and this is the idea of transforming ego to self-worth, healthy self-worth, godly self-worth. Yes, you can have ego. You could think of yourself as being great, even in spiritual matters, and it could be very destructive. Because all ego is bad, even if you did those first 3 levels and you lowered yourself and you humbled yourself. But if you look at your own levels, your own madregas, and you feel pride, and you feel haughty, you feel ego because of that, so then you're back to that same point of ego, and then you'll probably fall back. You won't be able to look at those other 3 categories of people and humble yourselves. It's specifically this day, Tu Bishvat, that teaches you to take the fruits to Yerushalayim and praise and thank Hashem. That teaches you that the way to really get rid of the ego, the way to really receive from the Eitz HaChaim, is only when you take your accomplishments, even spiritual ones, and your spiritual virtues, and you turn to Hashem and you realize, I only have them thanks to Hashem. When you do that, then you're able to transform ego into positive, healthy, godly self-worth. Then everything Hashem gives you, all the Torah Hashem gives you, all the brachas, all the shefa, whether it's materialistic, whether it's spiritual, everything Hashem gives you, you'll be able to only draw yourself closer to Hashem. There's no risk that you'll have any ego because of that. And then Hashem says, I'll give you the most profound chidushay Torah, I'll give you the biggest brachas, you'll fuse your life with the spirituality, with the insight from the Eitz HaChaim, the life that the Eitz HaChaim gives us. But this is the prerequisite. And this is what's so special about Tu Bishvat. This is the day that teaches us how to take those fruits to Yerushalayim and praise and thank Hashem. This is the day that teaches us how to take that ego and transform it from ego to healthy and godly self-worth. And this is why many of the beautiful minig on Tu Bishvat, of course, you have to know how to do this halachically, but they take a fruit and they say, Shehechiyanu v'kiyimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. They take this fruit and say, now I can eat this fruit because it's Shehechiyanu. It's Hashem that has given me my life. When I realized that my entire life, every single part of it, both the materialistic parts and spiritual parts, all of it is a blessing from Hashem. It's undeserved. It's because Hashem is so full of kindness. When I realized that, then I could take the fruits. They all become mutter. I can enjoy the fruits. I can bite into fruits. I can attach myself to the Eitz Chaim. I can receive endless levels of vitality, of ischadshus, of renewal. The sky is the limit. So may we all be zoche on this day of Tu Bishvat to become attached to the Eitz HaChaim, to fill and infuse our life with vitality, with chiyus, with simcha, with ischadshus, with newness. And I thank you so much for listening. We now have the great privilege to hear my dear friend in Eretz Yisrael, very talented Shimi Fried and his friends. Sit back and enjoy and sing along. Thank you.
For you, still Rosh Hashanah. It's still Rosh Hashanah. You know, my father, Levan Shalom, used to go to Oman on Tu Bishvat, because it was Rosh Hashanah. So especially today, all the Breslov Chassidim, they are connecting to Rosh Hashanah. So let's go to Oman for Rosh Hashanah. Ayo, wo, 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 I thank Kavod Hashem ne'yamecha te'ila l'reyecha v'sikvatay v'ledashecha u'pischaim peh lam yachalim la Simcha l'artzecha v'sasa Smichas keren leDavid avdecha Marichas leven Yishai Meshichecha B'mehero
Melech was an eifel. In other words, he had no life. Sometimes some of us feel down, we feel like we have no life. Comes Reb Nosson and he says, I get a life. Get every second they live the new life. They renew themselves every moment. So what kind of life do you want?
la 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 esti Rachamim Eitiva b'tzaycha esti Rachamim Eitiva b'tzaycha esti Rachamim Eitiva b'tzaycha esti Eitivne Chaimai Yeru Yerushalayim Tivne Chaimai Yerushalayim Eitivne Tire breathe, hard to breathe, the fellas are right to say, the fellas are right to say. Nothing given in the lemon, fall into the fellas are right to say. Oh, you tire breathe, hard to breathe, the fellas are right to say, the fellas are right to say. Nothing given in the lemon, fall into the fellas are right to say. Tire breathe, hard to breathe, the fellas are right to say, the fellas are right to say.
Thank you, Shimi and friends. That was terrific. We love the music from Eretz Yisrael and the inspiration from Eretz Yisrael. May we all be zoiche to join you soon in Yerushalayim HaKodesh. Up next, I'd like to introduce a dear friend of mine, Rabbi Rietti, to share with you some inspirational words from Rabbi Nachman.
Special thank you to Rabbi Yossi Katz for inviting me to share with you on Breslov life, on renewal and rejoicing. Oh my gosh, this is a very big subject. As you know, on Rosh Chodesh and in Hallel, we say the line, Zeh hayom. This is the day, Asa Hashem, that Hashem made. Oh, 1 second. David HaMelech said, Beruach HaKodesh, with divine inspiration, this day is made by God. That means whatever's going on in Kabul, with my diet, with the doctor appointment and the diagnosis, and whatever's going on in my career or my lack of, whatever's going on in my employment situation or lack of, whatever's going on in my family or lack of, with my kids, with my wife, with my kids, whatever's going on in my life, David HaMelech is making an astonishing statement. Zeh hayom, this day was made by God, Asa Hashem. Oh, if this is God's day, and He designed it, and everything that's happening around me is Hashem turning up in my life, Hakol b'dei Shemayim chutz miyirat Shemayim, everything is under His control except the choices I make. Oh, so if that's the case, Nagila, let us reveal. Nagila is a language of Simcha, but Malbim tells us in, I think, Perek Beis of Yoel, that it's a lashon of being megale, revealing a reason to be happy that I was not aware of till now. Nagila, let us reveal v'nismcha, and let us be happy in it, or in Him, in this day that He made. So His chadshus, starting again, is huge in the works of Rav Nachman of Breslov, fondly known as Rabbeinu Zal. And I'm going to suggest that today, coming now with Tu Bishvat, renewal, I don't know if there's ever been a time in world history, and I mean this without any guzma, no exaggeration, I don't believe there's been a time in world history where Hitchachus, starting again, renewal, has been more urgent. I refer to COVID and everything that's coming about because of it. The changes in world politics, not just American politics. The shift from conservative values, family, sanctity of life, security of certain freedoms to choose a parnasa, earn a living, go to work, raise your home, your family. And so much is being sabotaged. I'm not making this a political presentation, but we're living in a time in history that arguably, you could say, has affected the world globally in the sense of uncertainty. I would claim there's never been a time where we are so uncertain about tomorrow. Earning a living, changing our job. Will my kids be going to school or not? Will I be able to go to work because my kids are going to school and I got to go to work too? So, and if they don't go to school, I can't go to. And going back with vaccine, yes, vaccine, no vaccine, is safe, not safe. And there's so much information. I didn't say that right. There's so much disinformation that we don't know what's true anymore. It's almost literally word for word out of the last Mishnah in Sota, which gives us all the painful list of items that we can check off. Oh, Mashiach's coming. Ikvas mit Mashiach. This is the footsteps. Now, footsteps means you're close enough to the person who's walking in front of you to hear his footsteps. So that is really close. Yeah, the footsteps of Mashiach. What such a fascinating metaphor. He's so close, you can hear his footsteps. And amongst those tanaim, amongst those conditions, you will see there, Oive ish anshe beisai. The enemies of a person's family will be members of his own household. Now that happened to be true throughout ages, but I don't know if it's ever been more true today with the rampant domestic violence, divorce, and the suffering children go through with trauma and everything else. And comes along the Mishnah and says something extraordinary. It says 3 times, Al mi lanu lehishayin. Who can we rely on? We've lost all these great Tanaim. We've lost the Beis HaMikdash, the Bayis Rishon, the Bayis Sheni. And now this last part of that Mishnah, Perek Tes, Mishnah Tes Vav, in Sota, suddenly gives us an insert right at the end of this very painful list of what to expect as signs that Mashiach's almost here. Right at the end it says, Al mi lanu lishayin, who should we rely on? Oh, El Avinu Shabashamayim, the only thing we have to rely on is Hashem. Now, you could read this Mishnah in more than one way. You could either read it, now we have to rely on Hashem. But that doesn't make a lot of sense because, didn't you have to rely on Hashem before, during, and after anyway? Because Hashem's anyway in charge of everything. So number one, I have to rely on Hashem. Good, very nice. But number 2, and I think this is really quite extraordinary, it's one of the conditions. When you realize that we've reached a generation where nobody knows what's going to be tomorrow, and we're forced to rely on Hashem, now we're getting really close. What is chitzchadshus? What does it mean to start again? So I'm going to suggest that this is not a midah. It's not some sort of character trait that one has to imbue in oneself to have this, I'm going to start again no matter how many times I fail. I'm suggesting it's not a midah in the typical sense. It's not a character trait, even though some may have that in them or have nurtured or worked on that as a character trait. I'm going to say it's much closer to us than that because it's reality. God wired the universe to be constantly in a state of renewal. Sunrise, sunset. Every single day is new. In fact, your skin sheds itself. And every few weeks, you've got a whole new layer of skin. It doesn't look like that, but that's actually how it is. Of your almost 100 trillion cells, you're losing tens and tens of millions of cells a day. But they're being renewed all the time. Actually, even your bone tissue is renewed within every 6 years. This is just a PS, like postscript, add-on, bonus information. That's why it's so important to pay attention to diet. Because your body is constantly renewing itself. And if, God forbid, there's illness or disease or low immune, well, guess what? The choices we make in the foods we eat or don't eat are actually the nutrition, or lack of, that's going into our stomach, from there to the bloodstream, and the bloodstream now takes it to your cells. And your 100 trillion cells are being renewed by the quality of the nutrition in the food that's now in your bloodstream. All the carbohydrates and the proteins and the oxygen, enzymes, every element that's going to renew your cells is in the food you and I are eating. So this is just a bonus information. We need energy. Probably no more than any other time in history in terms of building our immune to stand up to the various strains of COVID-19 flying around. But that's really important to take seriously. But now let's get to the real subject. And that is, we are in the midst of World War III. And what do I mean by that? I don't use that term to inflict fear. I don't mean it in a physical sense. I mean it much worse than that. World War III is the last battle for your mind. Where will I fall on the side of Emunah. Hashem, I trust you. You've been running the world for 6,000 years now, and you've been keeping on schedule everything you want in order to bring about your final redemption, final geula. So I trust that whatever is surrounding me, locally and globally, is part of your plan. So I don't have to rent space over here. The most valuable real estate that I will ever own is my mind. I don't want to rent space over here to worry, anxiety, fear, what will be tomorrow. That's the other side of the fence. Emunah on one side, trust, coming on to total trust, versus what I would say the media, which I think is an interesting word, media in Hebrew. Whose opinion is this? It's not necessarily screened, and certainly not screened through a Torah filter mindset. The media are constantly bombarding us with information that is empowering, encouraging, inspiring. It gives us encouragement to move on and builds our immune, builds our resilience. Or is most of the information we're hearing contradictory, confusing, bad news, all sorts of claims of who is really involved in what and what's really happening behind the scenes, and just sowing seeds of total confusion, the exact opposite of Emunah. Emunah means certainty, conviction. As the word Amalek, the famous Gematria 240, is that same Gematria as Suffolk, which means doubt. Also, uncertainty on this side of the scale, uncertainty, fear, anxiety, worry. What's going to be with my children? Should I allow that vaccine? Not allow? What about me? Should we move? Should we move to Eretz Yisrael now? No, you can't. They're all in quarantine. You can't get in anyway. And where am I going to land? This is the greatest battle of all. And Hitchachus is everything. It's wired into the Bria. It's wired into your body. The new moon, Tu Bishvat. Oh, winter has got its pivotal turning point where the trees renew and now blossom and the seeds take root in the ground. It's all about renewal. So comes along Rav Nachman of Breslov, and in Sichas Aran, that's his Rav Nachman's wisdom, in paragraph 3, he talks about the power of teshuvah. Now, teshuvah is a mitzvah shetali belev. All the Rishonim, all our great rabbis of the previous generations, when they listed the Tariag mitzvahs, 613 mitzvahs, they have listed the mitzvah of teshuvah is a mitzvah of the mind. Tali belev. Lev really means mind. Machshavos really means thoughts. It's not referring to your heart. Rabbos machashavos belev ish. There are many thoughts in the mind of a person. We're not going there now, but that's the bottom line. So there's a battle now for my mind. Where will I rent my mind to? The media, worry, anxiety, fear, or on the other side of the scale, hey, saturate the mind with Hashem's Torah, with His clarity, with the clarity of His true tzaddikim. So comes on Rav Nachman of Breslov and offers that teshuvah is a thought. It's so high, it's so great that it's higher than Torah. Now you shouldn't take that with a. Well, that's not what they say in the literature world. Don't go there. Chazal tell us that. Chazal tell us. I think it's Gemara in Brachas Yud Zayin, Amud Aleph. No, I don't remember now. It could be Amud Beis. So the Gemara says, Tachlis Chochma Teshuva Masim Tovim. The purpose of wisdom is Teshuva, to change our minds, to change the direction of our actions. Umasim Tovim, and good deeds, mitzvahs. Says Rashi on that Gemara, Chochma, he says, that's Torah. The purpose of Torah is teshuvah. So teshuvah is higher in the sense that the purpose of learning is in order to change me. The mitzvah of teshuvah, which the Torah tells us in Perek Lamed, Pasuk Yud Daled, in Dvarim, Ki karoi velecha hadavar ma'oid. This item, teshuvah, changing your mind, changing your thought, changing the direction of where I'm not going to go. I'm going to let go of worry and go to emunah. I'm going to let go of fear and go to trust. Eventually, you know exactly what you're doing, and I'm still going to do whatever I think is right, or ask those who are smarter than me what they think I should do that is right. But the bottom line is, teshuvah is everything. It's the purpose of creation. That's why Hashem wasn't thrown off when Adam ate from the tree. Hashem actually still said right at the end of the 6th day, after Adam ate from the tree, after he was judged and thrown out of Gan Eden, Hashem still said, Vayar Hashem, and Hashem saw at Kol Asher Asa, all that he'd made, and he made the most astonishing statement. Vehine, behold, that means pay extra attention. Toiv ma'oi, the world is exceedingly good. No matter what's going on around us, Teshuvah means I can change my mind. Rav Nachman tells us right at the end of Sichas Aran, in Shin Zayin and Shin Ches there, don't say, oh, the old days were so much better, life was cheaper, we could afford things so much more easily. Don't go there. Don't make the mistake, because that's the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara wants to pull me down into yesterday. Worry about the future. The only 2 time zones you and I never exist in. Because renewal is in the Bria. Renewal is a metzias. It's a simple reality. And what is that renewal, which is the real reality? Yesterday doesn't exist. The past never exists. The future never exists. The moment it's happened, it's gone, it's finished. In the language of our sages, ma dahava hava. Whatever happened, happened. In the language of Rav Nachman of Breslov, he claims that the shikha has a huge value, forgetfulness. And what is that huge value? Let go of the past. Don't think about it. Forget the mistakes we've made. Forget the mistakes other people have made. That's actually a mitzvah deoraisa. Lo tito et b'nei amecha. In Parshas Kedoshim, Vayikra, chapter 19, verse 18, the most famous probably of all the Torah, where it says, V'hafta recha kamoicha, comes right after, Lo tito et b'nei amecha. Don't remember mistakes other people have committed against you. Let go of the past. And what about the future? Well, you can plan for the future. We're always planning for the future. Every single mitzvah is a plan for the future. They say that rabbis don't always get paid that well, but their pension plan is out of this world. So all our mitzvahs, all our Torah is planning for the future. Like Rav Nachman says, the Chenveni, the storekeeper, he gives you on credit. Why don't you do the same with Hashem's mitzvahs? Tefillah, Tehillim, Mishnayos, a little bit of Gemara, a little bit of Psukim, learn Chumash, Nach every single day. We are investing in the future. The now is the only now. And that's why it's Hitzchadshus. It's a new now. Yesterday will never come back. It'll get played back to us on Yom Hadin. Oh yeah, that's true. You look at Koheles. It's the very last 2 psukim, and you'll see there a very famous statement, Hakol Nishma, everything will be heard. Kizeh ha'adam. And what's the Hakol Nishma? Et mitzvot shav shemor ve'et Elokim yereh. Keep his mitzvahs and fear Hashem. What's Hakol Nishma? So look at the Targum Yonason over there. It's quite strong language. Everything you ever thought, did and said will be heard. Now, you and I can't hear each other's thoughts. No, but on Yom Hadin, there are no barriers of time and space. There are no barriers of Olam Hazeh, the world of Sheken, Olam Hadimion, the world of illusion. Over there, that's all fallen away, and you and I will hear whatever we thought. It'll be on screen, so to speak, in front of an audience. But don't worry, the audience only comprises of everybody who ever lived. Is going to hear what I was thinking when I was speaking, when I was doing whatever I was doing. Oh my gosh, they're going to hear my intent. That's Teshuvah. Teshuvah has the power that no matter how bad our intent was how bad our actions were, how bad our words were, Teshuvah means Hashem will cut and paste. Well, no, not paste. It's just going to cut and delete. So that on the final movie, Hakol Nishma will be without the mistakes we made. That's the power of Teshuvah. Teshuvah is renewal. And how far are we ever away from Teshuvah? It's only a thought away. Because the Pasuk says, Ki karei ve'elecha davar ma'od beficha. This is exceedingly close to you. It's in your mouth to say sorry. U'bilvavecha, and it's in your thoughts, la'asai, to do it. And that's why Rav Nachman says it's higher than everything else. It's the purpose of creation. Renewal is letting go of yesterday, not worrying about tomorrow, and staying. It's a very a thrown around statement, living in the now, but I want to explain what that I think that means. It's not a statement of time. You can never have more than one thought simultaneously. It's impossible. Rav Nachman talks about this. I think it's in Reish Lamed Gimel, in the first chelik of Likutei Moran, and you'll find something similar to that in Chaim Ran in Mem Dalet. You cannot your mind is not able to have two thoughts simultaneously. It's impossible. In fact, in the physical bria, it's impossible to have two items in the same space. It's just not possible. Even an atom, the lowest particle with its protons, electrons, and the nucleus are separate entities of the atom. That's why splitting of the atom is so disastrous. But you can't have an atom that's taking up space of another atom. It's impossible. There's no two physical items that contain the same space. There's no two thoughts that can simultaneously exist. You can only have one thought at a time. Your mind can race from one thought to another very quickly, but you can never have two thoughts simultaneously. Why is that important to know? And the answer is the ramifications of this understanding, it's so simple, are huge. Since you can never have more than one thought at a time, then how long is the life of a thought? And the answer is always the same, as long as you think it. Oh, okay, so then how far am I away from switching my thought from this food, this addiction, looking at that person I shouldn't look at? How far am I away from thinking, you know what, I'm just going to, this is ridiculous. What am I watching all these crazy apps? It's kidnapping my mind from paying attention to my wife, to my children, to spending time learning, in davening. I'm bringing my phone to the best medrash? You've got to be joking. What for? I mean, for all those decades I lived without it, and I didn't go to shul with a cell phone because they didn't exist, but now I have to have it with me. So comes along Rabbeinu Zal and helps us understand, because you can't have two thoughts simultaneously, you're always only one thought away from a new thought. Hitchachus is not just in time. More than it's in time, it's in my next thought. A person, Chas v'shalom, could be a Bal Aveira, do terrible, terrible crimes all his life, and in the last moment, he's moida to Hashem. I love you and I'm sorry. Ho, 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 ho. One hero of Teshuvah is worth coming into this world for. One day of Teshuvah is worth a whole lifetime of not doing Teshuvah. Rahman al-Islam. Rav Nachman tells us that Teshuvah is so powerful. Actually, it's in the Gemara in Yuma, Pei Vav Amud Beis, where it gives us several amazing, outstanding virtues of Teshuvah. Gedola Teshuvah. It is so great. Mikareves es ha-geula. It actually brings the final redemption closer. That means you and I have to really believe that every single time we pay attention to our wives and do teshuvah, for all the times I'm listening to every word you're saying. I can repeat what you said. No. Full attention. And that goes with the kids as well. I would say even more so, possibly. Oh, so comes along Rav Nachman and tells me you're always only one thought away from a new thought. That's hitchachus. That is teshuvah. That is the meaning of Tu Bishvat. We can't be reminded enough that starting again, no matter how many times I fall or fail. Rav Nachman also says in Sichas Saran, in Rav Nachman's Wisdom, paragraph 48, he says that of himself that he fell hundreds of times in a single day and started again. It's not how many times we fall that matters. And it's not even the severity of the Averas that Chas v'Shalom a person falls to. What matters the most is he picks himself up again and again and again. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, start again. Because it's not just moment in time, it's every thought which is faster than a moment in time, makes a difference. I'll close on Sicha Saran. He says in Sicha number 11, in Rav Nachman's Wisdom, paragraph 11, he talks about the conclusion he came to, that he now realizes and is fully aware there's no such thing as a wasted thought. It's impossible. That everything you and I do, every muscle movement, he was saying in the context of his incredible efforts that he succeeded in arriving in Eretz Yisrael. But he, in that context, he said, I now know that there's no such thing as a wasted effort, not even a thought. Everything counts. Everything adds up. Everything is gecheshbond. It's accumulative. And in Hashem's perfect accounting, your teshuvah can actually bring about the geula, that one thought. The Gemara there also adds that teshuvah is so great that if I did Averas b'mezid on purpose, I violated mitzvahs, and now I do teshuvah meyira from fear, I can actually cancel out those Averas, and now they're considered like it was done by mistake. So Hashem changes my thought from what it was then, I doing it on purpose, and puts a new thought, I did it by mistake, and that changes the consequences, because the consequences for a shogeg is totally different to those of a mezid. Can be the difference of a death penalty or just malchus. And comes along the Gemara and then says, and it can also change our averas that were done b'mezid to zechuyos, and that's when we do teshuvah me'ava. Wow! So it comes along, Rav Nachman says, because the Gemara says this, he quotes the Gemara over there, he says, because the Gemara says this, you see that there's no yish. There's never despair. Despair is a human perception. It's not reality. Because in God's reality, his chachas means there's no such thing as giving up. Because just start again, start again. And it goes even beyond that. The last example the Gemara gives there is that the teshuvah of a yachid, one human being out of 7 billion people in this world, can bring about mechila for him and kol ha'olam kulai, the entire world. Oh, everybody counts. Every mitzvah counts. Every effort counts. In the schus of knowing this, every time we put on tefillin, chitchachos, it is the first time, because now is new. Every moment is new. And we're injecting new simcha, new hislavos. And no matter what else is going along around us in the crazy world that we're living in right now, it's getting better and better. We can't see it that way, but look at Shin Zayin and Shin Ches in Sichas Run. That's one of the longest pieces there that Rav Nassan writes, is don't fall into the trap of the Yetzer Hara making me believe yesterday was better than today. Today is the now, which is new. In that schus, we should put simcha in all that we do. Shabbos, Zmiras, our interfacing with our children, with our spouses, throwing ourselves into our learning and our davening with a new hischachos, and then we will fully be Mekayim, fulfill the words of the King of Gratitude, David HaMelech. Zeh hayom. This day, today, with all the nonsense and stuff that's going on, that's interfering and sabotaging my plans for today or whatever it is, Zeh hayom asa Hashem. You made this day, Revenge Shalom. Oh, you made this day? Oh, now it's got to be a good day because Nagila, so let's reveal the good in this day and let's be happy with it. In the schus of knowing his chachos is always one thought away. You're never imprisoned by circumstances or the wrong place at the wrong time. There is no such thing because we live over here all the time and we're only one thought away from starting again. In that schus, we should all be zeicher to see the coming of Mashiach b'mehera Amenu. Amen.
Thank you, Yonason, for those incredibly inspirational words. Thank you so very much. I'd like to thank all of you for listening. I hope that this was an inspirational evening for you, a time of renewal, rejuvenation. I hope that you gain much simcha from this. Again, I invite you, join us on the web, breslov.life. We have a great amount of articles, videos. We're going to be having chaburas and classes and special events, so please come and join us. I also invite you to please support our work. There's many opportunities to sponsor in memory or in the sechus, the merit. So please look on the website below. You'll see the many opportunities. Your tzedakah funds are greatly appreciated. Thanks to you, we'll be able to share Rabbi Nachman's transformational wisdom with so many more people. Thank you again, and have a wonderful evening and a great Tu Bishvat.